Breaking news just in. Michigan's Department of Health and Human Services says 2 people have died in connection to the cyclospora outbreak. At the same time, the Food and Drug Administration has identified another outbreak of the parasite. That source remains unknown. This new outbreak is in addition to the outbreak already tied to some shredded lettuce. That outbreak sickened 18,000 people nationwide, according to the CDC. Joining us now is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. And Dr. Azar, with 2 deaths now in Michigan, I guess what does that tell us about the outbreaks we've been seeing?
So, Christine, I think it's important for viewers to understand and remember that death from cyclosporiasis is not a common outcome, but we know that it can happen. And the main reasons are typically from the effects of severe dehydration, right? If you're having so much nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and you're not rehydrating properly. We do have some limited information on the 2 individuals who passed away. They did have what we always call underlying medical conditions, which of course places people at a higher risk for having a complication like that. We also want to remind viewers, again, not a common outcome. Many people will be sick with cyclosporiasis and may not even be aware. And then I think we have that bell curve in the middle that has that really severe diarrheal illness.
So for people at home who are listening to us and they're saying 2 deaths in Michigan, thousands and thousands of cases, how concerned should they be?
Look, I think that we were all hoping that as happens often in the news cycle, things sort of take a little while and then they start to abate. And I don't really think that we're seeing that right now. I think there are 6 active outbreaks in the country right now and really only have really good granular data on one of them from the Tyson farms. I think the same precautions that we talked about a couple of weeks ago are still holding true. And as is sort of exemplified by the cases, unfortunately, the 2 people who passed away, that if you are someone who might be more medically vulnerable, you're probably going to be taking more precautions. Obviously, we're always looking at produce as the main culprits. I think there was some conversation recently from another outbreak in another state that maybe parsley and cilantro could have been culprit. Those are also notoriously things that can be implicated in these kinds of outbreaks, in addition to fruits like raspberries, anything that has a more textured surface where the parasite can really get in there and can be hard to get off. I
found myself actually scrubbing a watermelon before I cut it the other day. I mean, that's what I'm doing.
Well, think about it. Again, something with a hard shell, right? The inside of the watermelon should be spared from the outside, from the things that are outside, but washing it appropriately, because once you get something on your hands, you can unfortunately contaminate something inside. But the precautions, again, under cold water, scrubbing for 1 minute, and if all else fails, cooking to 158 degrees Fahrenheit should do the trick.
Natalie Azar, Dr. Natalie Azar, thank you, Nat.
You bet.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.